Good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gens Podcast. We got Mr. Byron Glass in the sunshine today. He all sharp down there working, and man, he said, "Ron, said I'm still do this." He said, this is important." So when he said he was gonna still do it, I say, "Man, you ain't say nothing but what they." I'm trying to get the saying together so I don't sound like a fool. It ain't nothing but chicken wing, man.
That's
We gonna
all.
go
That's
ahead.
all. That's all it is, man.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yes.
Mr. B Glass, what's going down in Lafayette, Louisiana? That I'm missing out
This is
on.
Mike. Oh man, we taking care of some of these laws, regulations, training, certification, and all that kind of stuff. Kind of reverting back to last night's show, man. We're dealing with these kids trying to find out, figure out. I think Ron, we we asking all these questions, but I'm not sure we asking the right questions because we ask questions of each other, but we might need to be asking these questions to these kids. And A.F.
Mm-hmm.
Riggins alluded last night that the kids that he deal with, you sit down, you have a relationship with them. After you build a relationship foundation, kind of like a horse, they started doing whatever you ask them to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And, and I don't know that much about horses. Only thing I know, they cost money, and
kids do
and
too.
kids do too. But horses, I remember when you used to be out there stepping. Byron Glass' phone just went out. But he must have lost his service. But anyway, I think that the topic tonight was going to be about football, and we had a topic. We had something last night, and I'm trying to talk until Byron comes back in. But we had a topic last night that was kind of different. We wanted to talk about kids and how to get them involved today without with trying to understand where they're at. Not trying to give them a place to go, but trying to understand where they're at, and that's what it's all about. We have to give the kids we have to try to understand them. If we really want our kids to succeed, we have to give them a place to go. And I think that's along these lines tonight. And Byron is constantly fighting for kids' rights wherever he's at. He's been doing it how long? 334 years.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Spikes, if you got kids, you've been fighting for them rights. So however old your oldest kid is, that's how long it is, man. It's sorry, I got kind of kicked out. That's the only thing I hate about when I use my phone. I have to kind of screen calls and kick out and all that other kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, man, we're just trying to make a difference, right? We can just say one, which we always talk about that, man. It's just one of those things.
You know what, Glass? You're gonna be surprised. I did a show earlier today,
Hmm.
and I met this guy about 2 days ago. I walked into his work area, and he was talking about God. And we stood there and talked for almost an hour. As a matter of fact, this boss got on him, saying, he said, you. He wasn't talking directly to me. He was talking to somebody else, and I just happened to inject into the conversation. And I got involved in it. And here's what it was, Glass. Here's the reason why I asked him to come on the air. You know how we're about diversity. We ain't just about being black, white, or anything. He was a he was a white young man, had ability to talk, and well, he could relate to some of the stuff that we talk about all the time.
Hmm.
But a lot of times we get caught up in, and most people are in our race. They say, "Oh no, it's the white man. It's the white man. It's the white man. It's the white man." They don't know our plight. But sometimes we have to reach out and find somebody that's on the same plight as us, that believes in God. And he said, and here's what he said, and this is what got me earlier, and this would have been right up your alley. He said he voted for Trump, but he made the biggest mistake he ever made.
Hmm.
So I was like, wow, owning it is one thing, but just getting there. And I know we're going somewhere else, but I just needed to let you know what we talked about early, and it'll be posted soon.
No, Ron, but I think that's a valid point of this conversation. Sometimes most people are not willing to admit their errors. But my question to anybody is, what was it that made you consider him when he told you everything that he was going to do, and now that he's doing what he told you he was going to do, it's not what you wanted?
Bro, I've been around you too long because I asked him that same question.
It, it, it,
I've
it,
been
it, it,
around you too long because I asked him that same question.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, Harris is on the night doing, some kind of broadcast. A friend of mine messaged me and asked me, what do I think about it? I said, well, what do you think about it? Do you think she should really, be out? Do you think she should even consider, running again? Will they ever accept her for the way she should be accepted? Again, there's nobody out there that's chopping the block or talking about the issues and the concerns that he's going through. So at the end of the day, it's just one of them things, man. We in one of them times that man, hey, well, at least I never experienced it before.
It's you make your bed, you lay in. You just
Yeah,
gotta lay in it for 4 years,
right.
and hopefully you don't have to lay in it for longer than that. And that's what most people don't understand. If you
So
didn't
Ron,
vote,
out of curiosity, did he answer the question?
he answered it, but he said he was mostly persuaded by his father. And
Hmm.
he said that I didn't go out and do my own research. He said I was persuaded by my father and I'm gonna list the details later, but he said that his father persuaded him, and that's what he went for. So you know me,
Hmm.
I'm a Byron Glass special. So I came back and asked him, what did you think about Kamala Harris? And he answered that question. And
Hmm.
I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it's gonna come up later. But he was honest. I mean, he didn't go around the bush and try to hide and everything. He came out and told the truth. And I respect that about anybody.
Right,
Anybody is able to make entitled to make a mistake, but
right.
what do you do from here on?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing about it is, Ron, we can ask some people that look like us.
Mm,
Why did you not consider her, or what made you consider, the other person? Again, he told you what he was going to do.
mm-hmm.
If you know it's a sign up that say it's a dog, and that
Mm-hmm.
dog, what you gonna do? You gonna go in the gate expecting a dog not to bite, and then after he bites you, then you're gonna realize. Well, it's kind of like the scorpion and the frog. The frog took a little ride with the scorpion, and the scorpion took him across the water. And then
Mm-hmm.
when he got across the water, guess what the sscorpion did? The scorpion
What?
stung him. So,
Mm.
can I ask you a question? What made you want to sting me? The scorpion said, "You knew who I was before you got on my back."
Oh man. Oh man. That right there was too cool. I like that story.
But hey,
But
Ron,
it's some truth to life. If you know who I am, you know I'm a scorpion. If you
right,
know I'm a snake, I'm gonna get you to where I want you to go,
right,
where I can digest you or I can sting you. You
right,
know, but you knew going in when I said I was like you say you say you wanted a ride. I gave you a ride,
right.
but
And Ron, he'll give you everything that you want, but
mm-hmm,
eventually it's in him. You can't change him. Like Maya Angelou say, hey, when they tell you who they are, believe them. But you already know
absolutely.
this. So, relative to him, and what we're talking about, the policies that's being implemented, the justice system that, he's recreating.
Mm-hmm,
It's just an array of things that's going to affect our kids' future, the generation. If you look today, it looks as if the Supreme Court is paused to now start allowing, federal funds to operate religious, schools and things like that. Where all of these things run that we've been believing for the last uh, generation or two. It's like it never existed now. But the guy told you who he was.
he did, and he didn't bite his tongue. He didn't speak at you out the side of his mouth. He came straight at you and told you where he was going and what he had did, and he had already set it up prior to Biden getting in
Hmm.
office. And Glass, we discuss this all the time, and I'm not putting you on the spot. On the spot, but if you knew those things could happen, and you were in office, why didn't you focus on those things that he had did the first time during the election. You knew where he
Right.
was already at. Why didn't you focus on those things, especially the one about January 6th? You talk about how bad it was, and y'all bring it up and call it all kind of names and everything. But you waited 4 years and didn't do anything about it, man. I don't understand that. I'm trying to understand their logic because when I saw you yesterday and I got lost and I want to get there because I know we got another subject that we brought up that we're talking about. But when I saw how government functioned yesterday, just sitting there looking, man, I couldn't turn away. I'd rather watch that than watch what's going on. That thing gonna hit you in the head soon, bro.
We good. We good.
Okay.
Yeah. But Ron, again, you have to fight for laws, okay? And you fight by getting in the ring. And you can't. I'll use the boxing analogy. If you go to the boxing match, you
Mm-hmm.
don't get in the ring by sitting in the stand. You don't
No.
throw a punch by sitting in the stand.
Mm-hmm.
None of that stuff really it really matters because at the end of the day, we know what's going to take place. Okay, and we know what we need to do. The
Mm-hmm.
question is, are we too lazy to do it, or we just don't give a damn about doing it, or we just expected others to do it? But see, even when they're expecting others to do it, Ron, just like what you're doing, people asking, well, why are you doing a podcast? Why are you spending your money on that? Or why are you wasting every Tuesday night and whatever other night you decide to come on? It's all of those un illogical questions, antiquated, outdated, conversation that we've been having. And at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, man, I just don't understand.
Byron, we right after the election we was talking real heavy. This was even before we started talking about this podcast. We was talking
Mm-hmm.
about what happened and what the results of the election and what's going on in the world. And you know, I don't understand how come people are not starting to see and take plant seeds right now for what's going to happen in 2 years. I, how come they're not planting seeds for right now and for 4 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
The reason why we do this is to try to get somebody that has the ability to make a difference, to at least see that people care, They want a difference, but you got to offer it to them. You got to show them that you're doing something. Like those people yesterday, they were working toward an objective and they were going. I mean, the procedures that they was using, and I saw that young brother up there, and he was. It wasn't no confusion. Nobody was talking about big bad bodies and all the rest of that. They was trying to handle business for people within their district. I
Mm-hmm.
saw people come up and make statements. I found out red cards, white cards, and all the rest of that they use to keep the order and everything. So I paid attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I get another chance to pay attention because I want to do it in Louisiana, Texas, and go across and just see what the difference is. Because if that's how they conducting business on a local level, what's wrong with the national? What's wrong with the national level?
Ron, you hitting the nail on the head. Every asking. Uh, we need to bring some people on. We need to press them. We need to make them, quote unquote, answer the question that we feel are necessary. We need to ask them why, when you see something happen, rather than contest it, you just sit back and you go on about your business. And then when it happens, you want to get on MSNBC, ABC, CBS, and you talk about it. Once the law's in place, you need before the law even becomes a law. You need to find out what's the process, what's the procedure, how you go about establishing the law, how do you get involved before law takes place. You need to get involved with your local, representative, your local senators. Write them letters, flood the email addresses, pick up the phone and call them. Run. There's a lot of ways to get involved, and I'll use this analogy. If you stay in a neighborhood, you know how to clean up the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to go and pick up the trash. You know how to get involved. If you got potholes in your neighborhood, you need to go to your police jury meeting. You need to go and find out what's going on. If you got problems with your education facility, you need to go to the school board meeting. You know, if you got problems with your fire rates too high, you need to get involved with the fire department. All of these people have boards, they have meetings. But Ron, when you go to most of these meetings in certain places, especially rural America, you don't see many people that look like, but you see them complaining. But you
Mm-hmm.
don't see them. You don't see them inside of the ring. You don't see them sitting there trying to talk to maybe the one man or the one person that's out there doing it. But you always see them complaining. And what people have figured out, Ron, is this: all they are going to do is complain. They're not going to get involved because if you look at the historical aspect, a few of them will get involved. But the vast
Mm-hmm.
majority of what you need, a majority, they're not going to get involved. So if I got you figured out, I can play you whatever way I want to play you. I can do what I want to do because they know after about 72 hours, that's it. Hollering and screaming is okay. It's gone. Nobody's going to get involved, and then they'll wait till the next major hurdle come. Excuse me, and then they'll want to get involved. So I think what we're if the generation now is not going to do it, Ron. Well, maybe we need to start training them few youngsters that want to get involved. See,
Mm-hmm.
they rebels, they radicals. And I'm not talking about fighting. I'm talking about they have enough courage to say, "Well, I don't understand that. Well, why is this happening?" We heard some information today, Ron, where this little girl went to Supreme Court building. And when she went to the Supreme Court building, she started seeing a lot of the artifacts and all those things going on. So she asked the question, say, is this the Constitution? And the guy said, yes. She said, well, if this is the Constitution, this ain't happening in my school. I think I
Mm.
need to go to law school then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And has positioned herself to, matter of fact, Friday, they'll be down at the state capitol protesting, uh, speaking to their particular senators and representatives. They are being trained by an individual mentor to show them how a law becomes a law from the beginning of the process to the end of the process. They're being trained how to eloquently speak about things no concern about without being afraid to talk about it. Run. So these kids are prepared, but we're not giving them a foundation so they can use that preparation. So again, I'm talking to the family. We have to blame. We have to start blaming ourselves. We can't continue to say the man across the street, the man on the other side of the river, the man on the north end of the town. Well, what about the person that's right inside of town? You.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as we go through this thing called life, one of the things that I remember as a child growing up, and I heard somebody say it the other day on the program Glass. They said that when it was our age and we were in church, we couldn't ask questions.
Yeah.
You wasn't allowed to question what this man was preaching about. You wasn't allowed to stand up and not stand up during the service, but you couldn't even go back to him after the service. These kids gonna ask you some questions because if you say it, they want to go out and Google it.
Mm-hmm.
I see
Right.
you there. That's all right. If you say it, they want to go out and Google it. And
Mm-hmm.
if they want to go out and Google it, you got to make sure that they understand what you say because you got to be able to back it up. You can't
Right.
just say anything over the pulpit and then don't back it up because
Mm-hmm.
you might say, "I need y'all to come here, here, and here." Well, Pastor, what you doing? That might be a question that they ask you,
Mm-hmm.
and they just not taking it like they used to. The pastor will assign duties, but nobody never asked them, "Hey, what are you doing, Pastor? Or where are you
Mm-hmm.
going, Pastor?" You don't have to ask me. Don't ask me what I'm doing. Just take care of what you're doing. And these kids don't want to hear that.
Right. Well, what we also discovered, Ron, is that those kids say they want somebody that's genuine and authentic. In other words, they said, "Don't come to me telling me you want to help me and then the first time I don't do what you want to do, you back away from it. You done
Say it.
lost. You lost them. And if you talk about, the church house, the schoolhouse, the Curtis house, the courthouse, the outhouse, or whatever other kind of house you want to talk about, we failing. We are failing, and I think it's time for people to get involved, actively get involved, realize that Rome was not built overnight. Realize that a journey of 1,000 miles begin by putting 1 foot forward, and you don't be successful until you go that full 100, that full 1,000 miles. Most people get in the game run and they started walking, and the very moment they see a little small 1 foot bridge, they don't want to cross it. Well, you can't get there if you don't cross it. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're not sincere in dealing with this kid or these kids, stop complaining about them. Stop talking about them. Stop degrading them. If you don't want to get to understand them, then just leave them alone, man.
Absolutely. And the other part of the story that I see out here, Glass, as you was talking, this just came to my mind. Here's a message to the Democratic Party. If you want to put Kamala Harris up to vote, if you want to put Kamala Harris and you want us to get behind her next time, send her to some of these schools right now. Send her to some of these schools and let her get these kids motivated. She can always go back to us, to the old folks, but let her get some of these kids motivated. Send her, go to the high schools.
Yeah.
Don't just show up to cover up what you did. Show up and go in there and find out what they need, because they're gonna be 3 in 3 years. They're gonna be old enough to vote.
Hmm.
That's where you should start. Don't you already tried the process of force feeding people. You got certain people on your side right now, but if you want to get a different voter, you're gonna have to go to those kids in their place and meet them where they at. And by the time in 4 years, by the time you get, as you elevate throughout the process, you don't have to worry about, your message will be out there. But you want to start at the top, and then you want to take advice from people that look like the same age, about our age group, and we can't even talk to our own kids.
Right.
I mean, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but it's true.
And run.
Sometimes I can't relate to my kid because I don't understand, because they go through different things that we don't go through.
Hmm. Hey, we also talked about getting 16-year-olds eligible and registered, ready to vote, telling them why they should vote, telling them that even when you go out and vote, Ron, even when you go out and vote and you don't win, you may not win regarding the candidate, but you still win as being a part of the process. You still have a right to complain. You still have a right to go and get right in the face of the individual. I'm not talking about directly to the face, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about sending them the mass emails, sending them the text messages, going by their office. Hey, Senator Spikes, you told me this right here was going to happen. Explain to me why it didn't happen. Push them in the corner and make them answer your question. But see, again, Ron, it's a certain generation that's used to the butter beans being brought to them. They're used to the tomatoes being brought to them. They're used to the watermelons being brought to them, the peaches, and all those other things. All we can go to Mr. Salas or Miss Salas' house, and we can give her this. Her complaint is over. Well, if they know that, if they got you figured out, then what you need to do is flip the script, and you need to come at them in a different direction. But the war room, we're
Yep.
losing. I like the fact that you said Harris is, she's on tonight speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not sure if it's for the gubernatorial election in California. I'm not sure if she's steady trying to be the main person that's out there for the other party. Well, I don't know. But what I do know is that her strategy, she better come up with a different one. She better be able to
And we
that
talk about
black male who did not vote for her.
we talk about that all the time. I
Mhm.
mean, me and you have, and it's the black male, and it's more people like that she, and they say that. And I ain't gonna bite my tongue on this. I'm gonna
Mhm.
say it.
Mhm.
I'm on my second book, and they said that she did not want to leave Biden's policies. she wanted to support Biden through policies. Sometime when you running, you gotta forget about that. And if it's that important to you, you gotta forget about that. But I think that both of them played cards. They both were playing cards that both of them had on each other. And here's how I explain it to you. Don't know if it's true, but from what I've been reading, it might be close. Biden's had Kamala covering for them. The only thing they had to do was leak a story that she had been covering. She knew about what Biden's health was all the time. In reverse, Cam could have been saying, hey, if you don't pick me, I'm gonna let it go too. So they both had cards on each other that wasn't played, but you at the sacrifice of us. That's why we're here now. That's why we're here now, because y'all were playing checkers among each other, including Biden, Nancy Pelosi. What's the guy? I don't want to leave him out. Hakeem
Chuck,
Jeffries and
Chuck
Chuck
Schumer.
Schumer, and all of them. They playing cards that they didn't have, but they was fighting among each other.
Well, Ron, here's how I look at that. I'm gonna use you and I as an example. If the person that's in office,
Mm-hmm.
you're no longer running for office. If the person can ask me, well, what about that? I can easily divert and say, well, you know what? Because I work for this person, that's his policies, and I agree with him. However, if I was the head person in charge, this is what I would do, and this is how I would do it. It doesn't mean that we disagree. It just means that you can take two journeys, two different paths to get to the same place.
Mm-hmm.
But see, and what the person that's in office realize is this, Ron. See, politics is a process. So if politics is if politics is a process, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in and create my own process. That's what he's done. That's why he got MAGA. That's why he's been able to capitalize, because everybody tired of this old, outdated shit that we've been dealing with for 100 years. It's time for new stuff. He just happened to be the person to come in and resonate with all of those old people. Because Ron, they were looking for a leader, just
Mm-hmm.
like you and I. Just like you and I looking for a leader right now. We're not saying we're part of the Democratic Party. We're damn sure ain't part of the Republican Party. So we're looking for somebody to lead us. And right now we ain't found that person.
And that person has yet to step up. And the other part of that is they scared
Mm-hmm.
to put a person out there, because they think that the Republican Party, we lost Glass again. His reception must be gone, but that's okay. We're gonna continue rolling because he'll be back. But they're scared to make a decision because they're scared to put somebody out in front and get behind them. We don't get behind people. We allow them to run. We allow them to get in front. Then instead of pulling together and completing the party and making it happen, we don't do that. We don't do that at all. I got you. We don't do that at all. So we just continue to be a part of the problem until we learn how to be a part of the solution. We're gonna always have those type of actions going on. And Byron, we coming up on 28 minutes, and I knew we could. If we jumped into that, we wasn't going to discuss anything else that you had going. But I remember the subject matter that we was talking about. So we're gonna jump to that probably in about when you finish your statement.
Yeah, I mean, we just gotta, you can check her out tonight. You can see if she's saying anything different, or if she's coming out talking about what he's doing, but not talking about what she is doing, or what she could be doing, or what she wants to do. You gotta resonate.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I'm gonna jump over here. It's too late to play CYA.
Mm-hmm.
You should have been playing CYA while you was in the election.
Mm-hmm.
Because now that everybody's getting the message of what happened during the process, now you want to come back and change the narrative. You're not doing anything different than you was doing before.
Right.
It's just like Obama coming out. You know, why didn't you come out when she was running for office and support her like you doing, like you trying to protect yourself right now?
Mm-hmm.
Why are y'all coming out afterward and protecting yourself? But when the process was going on, nobody understood it. Nobody tried to get on board. Y'all was so divided because one person wanted to have a whole election process in such a short period of time, and the other people didn't even really want it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody just stepped up and said, you know what, we need to come together and come up with a firm plan, because this is a fool on the other side of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't change his spots. A leopard didn't change his spots. He told you. And while y'all was out there arguing the money among each other, he's sitting in the White House right now.
Checkers versus chess.
Yep. Yep. Byron, you came on here to talk about sports, and you know our heart. We get lost in conversation, but
Well, Ron, I just kind of wanted to, see how people felt about the Shadur Sanders situation, the football league, the draft. I saw, Chris Carter's comment today. I think he had a valid position where, he don't think, they did Shadur, wrong. What they did was they taught him a lesson. I don't know. I'm not taking a position one way or the other, but I see a lot of people making, ignorant, illogical, comments about, boycotting. Again, you saying that today, but soon as the NFL season starts, they know the viewership is up. They know how many people watching. They know how many people buying paraphernalia. So the question is, are you just talking just to be talking? You talking? You got an end goal. If you're gonna boycott. It don't mean talk about the shit today and then do it tomorrow. It means if you're gonna talk about it today, then that means you need to be talking about tomorrow. You need to be talking about next week. You need to be talking about to the end of the season. Here's the deal, Ron. I got a place where I stopped doing business, and I told them, hey, look, my little $60 to $70 that I spend on a weekly basis to buy these products, they're not gonna make you go broke. But what it is going to do for me, it's all about principle. I know that I'm not going to spend my money there. I'll find somewhere. So I ended up driving 30 miles just to do what I need to do. But I did it for 2 years, and I still haven't gone back yet. But it was the principle, because so you got to train yourself to win. You got to train yourself to be a part of the process. You got to train yourself to have faith, Ron. You got to train yourself to have strength. And you just can't be talking to talk. Because, see, it's easy to say that I'm not going to go back over there and talk to old girl. But as soon as the memories started hitting you again, then you go back over there. But when the memories hit you and you train, you realize that eventually the memories will fade away and you can move on to the next.
the thing that I admire about what you just got through saying is this: you experienced something that you didn't like. You experienced something that happened. You don't keep going back to the same thing expecting a different result. And when it's easy, because you could have easily came back down that path because it was closer, but you didn't. You say, oh no, oh no. Every time I get ready, probably every time you put your car in gear and you drove past it, you say, no, I'm gonna go a little bit extra distance because I'm gonna get what I want. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing that we have to do.
Right.
You can talk about boycotting and you can talk about all the rest of the stuff that you want to do, but come football season, you all that's gonna change. And I do not like the Chris Carter comment that you just mentioned. I hadn't heard it yet
Yeah,
because I
go out and
probably
read it.
was. Yeah. I'm gonna get into it. The thing that gets me is this: do you know how long the NFL captured people during the draft because of Shaduri Sanders? They normally don't have after the first or second round. They don't have nobody. But do you know they was able to capture an audience and hold them in place until he was drafted? That's money.
Mm-hmm.
That's about money.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's the only logical thing that I see, other than them saying that this guy wasn't good enough. But last, I could be wrong on this,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna ask you this question, and then I'm gonna make a comment after you get through. Where is that pressure falling at right now? That Shaduri Sanders was drafted low, and all the rest of them quarterbacks went high. Where's that pressure at?
That's a good question, Ron. I'm not prepared to say. And maybe, quite frankly, I really don't know. So if you got a point of view, tell me. And I'm also let you know that I just got a warning on my phone. So if I fade out, that's because my battery's gone dead. Remember, not you, but I'm not in my normal context.
Mm-hmm.
I may try to run to my room. There's no place out here where I can see, where I can get some power, or whatever. So I don't want to leave you hanging. But if I go blank, that's
Oh,
what it is.
I can wait. You might as well go now, then, bro. You might as well go now. But here's what I'm gonna say. It puts a lot of pressure on those young men that got drafted before him,
Oh yeah.
because if they fail and he succeeds at the bottom,
Oh yeah.
what does that say?
Yeah.
Where does it?
I agree
Where's
with you.
all?
I
Because
agree.
just because you got drafted high and you go in there, it's too many failures. I think about one in Houston, David Carr. Oh man, they was all over David Carr. He was this, he was that. Man, that dude couldn't throw a ball 20 yards down the field and hit somebody. And he had a Hall of Fame wide receiver like Andre Johnson. He had a Hall of Fame receiver that went on to just break all records when they changed quarterbacks for Houston. Some of his records still stand today. But before then, it was rough. So everybody that come out of college that's the number one quarterback don't make it. I see you out there, you frozen glass. So if you're gonna go to your room, I advise you to go ahead and walk now. I'm gonna try to stall for a little while, but you're frozen in motion. That's a good picture of you though. I see that pink tie. I see that pin on your lapel, and that light that's behind you is just highlighting you to the fullest, man. I'm like, golly, look at Byron Glass. But anyway, we're Byron's probably making his way to his room. He told us earlier on that his telephone was pinging out, and that it was he was running out of battery. And you know how telephones are, technology. You're in a meeting all day, you're away from home, and you're trying to get information, and you're trying to run your business, you're trying to stay in touch with your relatives, but you maybe it's three to 6 hours away from home, and if you just came out of a meeting and stuff, and your telephone's not working, you just stuck out. But he didn't try to run from it. He what he did was he still came on. But there's a lot of questions surrounding Shedeur Sanders that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about, why should the son pay for what you wanted to do to the father, but you couldn't do it because what he did on the field. See, you can talk about Deion Sanders all you want to, but here's what you can't say: he didn't perform on the field. You can't say that he didn't perform on the field. It was at times when he was on the field that they wouldn't even throw to that side. I don't care about everything else that he did. He backed it up on the field. And that's the part that most people don't understand. See, when you play sports, I have met a successful person yet in sports because they don't know where they stand. Even from a high school level, they tell you the truth. You can't guard me. You can't do this. As a matter of fact, in basketball, I remember people saying that Bird used to talk the same stuff. But here's the deal. He backed it up. You can't hold this young man accountable because he did everything he could when he was at his level in college. And he expected the same amount of respect that you would give somebody with his talent level that wasn't given to him. Was he brass? Yeah, he. I don't want no quarterback that can't say nothing, can't do nothing. When they get on the field, they're gonna be the same person. He, you expecting this young man to come in and be the leader? Quarterbacks ain't sitting at the back of the pile. Quarterbacks are coming up to the forefront. Your team, your teammates, and everything. You score points on offense. Now, every once in a while, you get a good defensive team that scores points. I'm not going to say that they don't, but you score. The defense works to get the offense the ball back so they can score points. And if you got somebody up there that ain't confident in what they're doing, you invested all these dollars in them, and they get up there and they don't have the skill set, that's on you. And give you an example, because I don't have to go far. David Carr. You got a brother that's still playing in the league. David Carr gone. I hear from David Carr. Maybe he's doing news or sports or something. But he actually wasted the Houston Texans money. There was a couple of bad drafts that the Houston Texans made. They even had a lineman that had never, they paid him all that money. He never got on the field. But I bet you if you would have got David Carr in a one-on-one conversation, he would have had the same attitude as Miss Sanders, but he didn't. You know, you never got a chance to put him in that environment. If you don't believe me, ask the GOAT himself. He's the same way. Aaron Rodgers, the same way. Do you want a quarterback that don't feel confident in themselves, not where they can't say anything? You drafted a couple of them before him that you're gonna find out. I want somebody that's going in and feel like they got it. They can do it. And they can lead a team when somebody asking them what's going on in the media, because your picture becomes the face of the franchise. Most of those guys, those owners spend a whole bunch of money. And I can't figure, this is what I can't figure out this time. The number one, probably the highest paid position in football is the quarterback. So if the highest paid position is your quarterback, why do you not want them to have confidence? Why do you not want their skill set to follow what they're saying? Why do you not want them to have a father that used to be in the NFL that probably gave his son access to people that we see playing on Sundays to train his son to take him to another level? Not everybody. Let me just say this. I'm not saying that everybody had to have it, but not everybody that got drafted before him had that. Not everybody had that. They some people look good on paper. Let me just say it. They look good on paper. Some guys, quarterbacks, make good college quarterbacks, but it never translates into the NFL. I remember Jerry Glanville said this: NFL stands for not for long. And that's a lot of pounding that you take. That's a lot of pounding that those guys take. I look at Baltimore, their quarterback. He's just a freak of nature. That's what he is. We may never have another quarterback like him. Even the guy from St. Louis, freak of nature. I never heard any of those guys say, well, this, that, you know, I don't know during the press conference. A lot of them take blame for where they at. Even, and I'm gonna go back a little bit further. Michael Vick. You can say what you want to say about Michael Vick, but I guarantee he would have been in more record books if he wouldn't have had outside influence. If he wouldn't have had those people, that outside influence, and that's not what you need. Somebody that can be in a situation and say, look, look, I ain't never been in this situation. My father ain't never put me in this situation. I'm used to having money. I made money during my college career. But you hear the critics out there talking about, oh, he got, he took out a bank loan because, do you know that he took out a bank loan? But you rather ruin his character about what you think that's going on because you didn't go in there. Last time I checked, they have a privacy statement when they doing bank loans and stuff like that. They have a privacy statement when you go from one internet site. It's called cookies. When you go from one internet site to the next one, and some of them even have a statement: "Don't sell my information. Don't sell my information." As you go from one site to another one. So I'm sitting here and I'm just trying to digest this, and I'm wondering how does this go? So you saying that he got a loan? Who gave him a loan? Don't just put a blanket statement out there. Tell us who gave him a loan. And that's what we don't do. We don't ask questions. Me and Byron was talking about this earlier in this podcast. We don't ask questions. We don't allow people to ask questions, but we allow people to defame other people's character. We allow people to say whatever they want to say about somebody else and defame their character. And by the time it's then went through Sally Sue and everybody else, even by as Pastor Williams say, Pookie boy. You know, the story is totally different. And we allow that to go on. And it continues to travel. By the time it's over with, he done went to the Saudi Arabia and got a loan to somebody else. And as he gets his loan to somebody else, but you never stop to get the absolute truth from him. And that's the thing that I dislike about what happens in politics. We don't even in football, we don't never stop to get the truth from him. We want to go with rumors. I see Byron's back, so I'm gonna bring him back to the stage. I wanted to let you adjust your situation, get situated before you came back on. But I see you now. There he is. And Byron, where we left out was about we was talking about Shaduri Sanders. So,
Mm-hmm.
and what I've been talking about is basically, they had all kind of rumors out there about what this dude then did. He then took out bank loans and all the rest. It's just thinking that he's gonna be drafted number one and all these rumors flying out there. But how many of those people, if he did take out a bank loan, how many of those people were sitting in the bank when he took it? How many people took pictures as he walked out of the bank? He could, as a matter of fact, if you took a picture, he could have just been in there going to get some of his money that he already has because
Mm-hmm.
he's getting paid more than some of the guys that's playing in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you can slander his name, do whatever you want to do, but at the end of the day, I hope that he's so successful. I'm going to give me a Cleveland Browns hat. I'm going. No, I said I was going to give me a. I don't want to get a Cleveland Browns hat because I'm supporting the
The
football league.
player.
The football league. I don't want to support the football league because
Right.
they were the ones that did it. I admire Cleveland Browns, but I think what I'm gonna do is try to find one of those Shaduri Sanders hats and stuff because they say the merchandise that he had, personal merchandise, is selling faster than anything else, and he's making money at this regardless of what y'all trying to do to him. Come on, Glass.
No, Ron, I think that's real valid, man. I mean, you making points that I guess the unlearned is not looking at because see, remember we so caught up on criticism.
Mm-hmm.
We so caught up on ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
We don't look at the substance or the factual aspect. I think in his NIL was paying him more than his initial contract in the league. You can't stop what's meant to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And what people do is, Ron, man, you ever notice when you go on Facebook and you see people making just outlandish comments,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess Mark Zuckerberg said, well, our mission is accomplished because we wanted to show you how stupid, these people are,
And,
bruh.
and, and people like us, Glass, that's in the media, we're complicit. Some of us, not all of us, we're complicit in part of the problem.
Hmm.
We're complicit because we don't go out and do the research. We say what somebody else say, and we continue to follow that narrative.
Hmm.
And those guys sitting behind their desk, if that's the narrative, and you want to stand up and you want to be different, do your research. Don't have no production assistant or whatever do your research for you because they might be biased in their opinion. Do your own research.
Right.
Reach out and do it. If you gonna get on these podcasts and you're gonna spew your knowledge about what's going on and you got a platform, try to make some of the stuff make sense.
we that's too much like easy, Ron.
Now it's hard, Glass. It's hard because what have we learned over the years that we've been doing this thing? They
Mm.
say if you want us to learn something, if you don't want us to know something, just put it in the book. We
But remember,
mm-hmm,
all you gotta do is press that little button, and it'll read it to you now.
mm-hmm.
And we,
I've been reading books today. Well, not yesterday I was listening to the last few chapters of the book, my second book, and I'm trying mentally. I'm trying to get myself prepared because and I don't want to jump away from the subject. I'm trying to do some research, and I'm taking three books and I'm comparing them, and I'm getting the same results from each one of them, just a different perspective. And some people knew this person, some people knew that person, but in the end, it's all the same.
hmm
And it's no difference between, if you don't believe me, you don't have to, you pick up these books, you'll understand there's no difference between a Republican and a Democrat. Only different animal out there is an independent. they, they they don't have the same fight as everybody else. An independent means that I'm gonna choose the best candidate. And that's the same thing going on with Shadur Sanders. Byron, before I get any further, and we're coming on up about 8 minutes, I wanted to try to give you your just due because I know we had some technical difficulties and
Ron, again, man, just putting forth the effort to allow this platform to continue is a plausible enough. Again, we try to have enough courage to come on and have a legitimate conversation, a
mm-hmm,
conversation that everybody's having in their own respective places. The only thing we do is try to broaden that so it can reach another audience, and hopefully that audience will maybe want to participate, maybe want to share, maybe want to have their own opinion and let it be verbalized, vocalized, or even put out there. But at the end of the day, Ron, uh, I just don't know how to tackle all of the ignorance that social media has allowed to be displayed. I see people that think because they got a PhD that they can come in and speak on, this or that. A person who feel like they got a college degree or got a good job. I've seen some of the brightest people that never stepped a foot inside of a college. I've seen some of the brightest people that have never been formally educated. And I'm not talking about education itself, but don't
right,
let education make you become an educated fool.
mm-hmm. And you're right because here in Houston they used to have a homeowner, and I'm gonna say this: he owned a lot of homes. You could tell that he never had a formal education. But every time that the city would try to change something down in the city, and when they would try to change something as far as how people was treated in their homes, and he went down there. He stood in front of the city council and told them about themselves. We don't, I don't see that anymore.
hmm
I used to see him come on the news all the time, but as a child, I don't see any of these people coming on. Maybe they're doing it on different medias, and I just don't see it. But the fight, if you're gonna fight, it's like Byron Glass say, it's a way to fight, and we're gonna have to learn how to fight. And most of all, we're gonna have to teach our politicians that teach those people that's out there that's running for office that they gotta come to the people.
hmm
If you can get the bottom straight, you can go back to the top. But if you ain't in touch with the bottom where most of the people are,
hmm
you're not getting to the people that you need to get to,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a fact. Because
Mm-hmm.
an example of that was the last election cycle that we just went through.
Mm-hmm.
If she could have got half of the bottom online with her instead of sitting around the table talking about it 2 or 3 years earlier, what if this happens? What is that? What if that happens? That's just one or two people that's sitting at your table that's entertaining the thought. But if you would have left out of there and just say, hey, you know what? I like what y'all saying. I need to go out and reach out to my people and
Mm-hmm.
find out what they're about. Show up at one of these rallies or whatever. What do they call them? Where they have these town hall meetings or something?
Mm-hmm.
Don't show up announced. Show up unannounced
Mm-hmm.
and sit back in the back and say, you know what? I just came here to see what y'all was doing. And then if you want to say something, wait till they get with their whatever they got going and say something.
Mm-hmm.
You're not there to upset what they already talking about. You're there to get their vote, and that's the thing that we fail to realize is that we can make an impact, but we have to do it in the right way.
Mm-hmm. And Ron, sometimes,
I have to say we just lost Glass again. We coming up on the hour, but I'm sure he's gonna come back up, and there he is right there. So go ahead, Byron. I see you, but you're not moving again, and I know that it's frozen in time, and you're inside walls and everything else, and you're still trying to do the show. Here you come. Here you come. I told you he was coming right back.
and Ron, sometimes those people that you're talking about at the bottom, put them in your cabinet. Let them work for you, so you'll have an impulse of those people at all times. You can't just have these Ivy League individual people and forget about the people who actually got you there. And I think that's where the fault falls with many of us, Ron. We feel like you got to go with the person with the shirt and tie instead of going with the person that ain't wearing no shirt and tie, just that has the same intellectual ability. They just don't wear the same attire. Ron, hats off. We did a good show. We talked about some important issues. Tune in next Tuesday night, if not before, because Ron, I'm finding out, is having impromptu shows at all times. So tune in to Two Gents.
bro, I'm gonna say this again, and we got about 3 minutes. If it wasn't for Byron Glass, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for Byron Glass, I wouldn't be here. And I'm gonna tell you the reason why. Because Byron told me a long time ago, and you won't know how long ago Byron told me, Ron, we need to go back on the air.
Yep.
We talked about it, and we talked about it, and we talked about it. Even Pastor got in the swing of things. He was saying, Ron, you and Byron need to go back on the air. You and Byron need to go back on the air. You don't know how many people got us to this point. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
that I like about it this time is that we're gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting 4 years out, and even after 4 years go into effect, we're gonna still be here trying to hold somebody accountable. And here's the deal. And Byron, you made a good point, and I'm gonna say this. Yeah, you can get those. You can get people like you said that don't have those college degrees or have names and titles behind their name,
Mm-hmm.
and tell them what to do because the people that are in office right now, they didn't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
We got a guy by the name of Tillman Fertitta. He owns the Houston Rockets. He owns Landry Seafood and a whole. He's one of the richest guys in the city. He sits on the University of Houston board. He gave up. He put all of that in limbo so he could go be the ambassador to Italy. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what an ambassador exactly what an ambassador does, but you know, I like to be an ambassador to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be an ambassador somewhere because I want to figure it out. But I'm sure if those guys can figure it out, I'm sure average everyday citizens can figure it
Right.
out. That's my
Right.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can't be that complicated because those people ain't running away from those jobs and those titles. Even the people that was on Doge, most of them were millionaires and billionaires, but they running to politics
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know how it works, but they want to effectively make change for themselves. And that's the only way that you're gonna make effective change is you have to have a seat at the table. But if you never offer one, what can I say?
Mm.
And I think that's the point that you was trying to make. We coming
Mm-hmm.
on up on 1 minute. We're not gonna keep Iron Glass any longer. He showed you how much he was willing to get on the air and express himself. And I'm glad we're gonna keep doing it. Byron, get you some rest because you got a battle ahead of you. You look tired now, and I
Yes,
heard you
sir.
earlier. You said that you ate Instagram. We just lost you, so we on our time now. So I just want to say we had a blast, and Byron's already got the sign out. Peace out, Ron.
Peace,
Gotta
man.
go, gotta go, gotta go. All right, I
Thank
want to say
God.
thank
Thank
God,
God.
thank
Thank
God,
God.
thank God. Byron, go ahead and you can get off the air. I'm good. I want to say thank God, thank God, thank God. Byron has shared his thoughts, and before we leave, I want to tell you if you want to subscribe and every time that we put on the show, if you want to, let me get this right. Hold on. I don't normally say this. Wait till the end of the show. Everybody else trying to put buttons and everything in the middle of the show and all the rest of that. If you want to get notifications when we're coming on, subscribe to YouTube, our YouTube channel, Two Gents Podcast, and you'll be able to get the notification ahead of time. If you, that's all we're gonna do. We ain't running no offering plates. We ain't doing any of the rest of it. We're gonna let it build on its own. See, people out there and they running these offering plates. It's no different. I mean, those guys just got famous at doing this. They did it for so long that nobody really understood what this was about. We was doing this 14 years ago. And the only thing now I'm gonna ask you is if you want, because people have been asking me, say, Ron, say I can't get notified if you have a show. Well, you can get notified if we have a show, if you subscribe to Two Gents Podcast on Yahoo on YouTube Yahoo. That's showing how old I am. But subscribe to Two Gents Podcast on YouTube. Thank you. Good night, Pastor Riggins. We miss you tonight. I know if y'all want to go over to Pastor Riggins, catch his Bible studies at afriggins.com. Put it in Facebook where I'm going to after I leave this show. Go to Pastor Riggins, AF Riggins, and you'll see Pastor Riggins. I think he's still doing his Bible study. Go over there and kind of listen in. We got to support everybody that's out there. I'm in the stream now. Thank you. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Amen. I'm glad that we were able to touch somebody. Just one. Good night, everybody.